All right, so we'll do Top Gear track and then we'll get a sandwich.
Nice.
All right.
I like where this is going.
I like sandwich stuff. Everybody needs a sandwich. All right.
Even Hammond likes sandwiches. There's so much he won't eat, but I can guarantee he'll eat a sandwich.
How can you not like sandwiches?
He's hilarious. He tries to prop himself up as being like so cultured, and I mean, I guess with the exception of Captain Slow, who likes his wine and his culture and everything. Like he definitely tries to prop himself up as being like the middle. Hammond likes to prop himself as being like the middle cultured of the trio. Yes, May definitely tries to be the most highbrow. Yeah. But then, you get him out in a foreign country and like he doesn't want to eat anything besides spaghetti.
Yeah, no, I get. I was gonna say like I never thought that because Hammond's always like I'm always the one that picks the American car. I don't want to eat anything but hamburgers. And
he always picks the Mopar because Clarkson always picks the Ford.
Yeah, totally. Well.
So then May always gets stuck with the Chevy by default.
Huh.
Because Hammond's the Mopar fan.
Right.
Or at least he is less of a Ford fan than Clarkson. Because Clarkson had a GT.
Right.
And
Stig's Dutch.
What else? Yeah.
Yeah. Stig's Digital Cousin Challenge. I love this. All right.
Back when we still had a Stig, rest in peace.
Do we not have one now? They finally cancel it on the regular show. I honestly stopped watching Top Gear when they went on to go do GT.
GT hasn't had a Stig. They had the American, and then they had the
Abby.
Abby,
yeah, Abby's amazing. She's amazing.
Was amazing.
Is Abby gone too?
She's gone for the upcoming season of Heartbreaking. Because not only was she easy on the eyes, but she was a hell of a driver. I love when she did talk. I liked the cheeky charm of the American. Like I realized that they were totally trolling, but so many people hated him that I knew that he wasn't gonna last. And the dude had pedigree.
I was bummed about that. I enjoyed the American.
It was silver pedigree, but like the dude knew what he was doing behind the wheel.
I love the American. He was one of my favorite things. Though I do love, and there was some they did on that showed up on YouTube that didn't end up anywhere else where they did the Ben Collins, which was fucking amazing. I love the Ben Collins. I love that little joke they did. But yeah, the American I liked a lot. I did love their little throwback to it, which is cool. Abby was amazing, but you're right. Nah, I didn't even think about it till just this moment, but they are going towards a non viewership show. They're gonna literally do specials, and that's not gonna have an audience or any kind of like
the dynamic is going to change. There's a lot of people who just watched it for specifically for the material that they are holding on to, but there's going to be a lot of us who are in whole hog, with the exception of maybe the interviews, which I think 9 times out of 10 I usually fast forwarded past because I thought they were boring. Are going to miss the content that they are doing away with.
We should really be having this conversation with Heather, because if anyone I know who is absolutely obsessed with Top Gear, I mean, I know right now, 2 rooms away, she's asleep with Top Gear playing. That's the reality of it. But oh man, I'm gonna have to get her take on it at some point. But I mean, I guess I don't know. Like, how much do you really enjoy the in studio stuff? I mean,
not much. Like I enjoyed when they used to sit around and like heckle cars and stuff, but when it came down to like I would watch like celebrities in a slow car. But 9 times out of 10, and granted, some of this was just because like they were British celebrities that us staters couldn't really identify with or whatever. So, unless it was a football player or something like that, it was like somebody I knew, I just wasn't invested. So I'd usually fast forward past the conversation part and then just like watch them do either an incredible or a dismal lap in their car, and everybody had a good laugh about it.
Right.
And I liked them, going through the hot or not board, basically.
I like the board.
With the new vehicles and stuff. But yeah, that was probably the part of the show that I was the least invested in.
Yeah.
Overall.
and when I do think about it, my favorite episode was the Vietnam episode, right? And
that was definitely up there.
Yeah, and I mean, they've done stuff since then that I might consider above it now, but at the time when the Vietnam episode came out, I hung my hat on that for 5-6 years of game of play. So I mean, yeah, I mean, at the end of it, I think they're doing the right thing based on their their age, what they're doing, how much time they're gonna spend in it, how much Amazon wants to continue to spend on it.
Yeah.
So I think it is the right move overall, but I will miss a little bit of their little quirky things that they do in the studio. And honestly, I don't think that GT did enough to do right by those pieces. And I don't know if it was because they were so afraid of touching what Top Gear was, or if it really was they were tired of it. And if they were tired of it, then that's fine.
I mean,
By the way, good job.
Thank you. In my plebeian analysis, I think like they were so bitter at how the relationship ended that they really wanted to try so hard to identify as like something just different enough to show the trio that like, fuck you guys, we don't need you. And then at the same time, they just made supremely dismal casting decisions. And
yeah.
And I mean, it was, first was, it was the douchebag producer in the first season. Like Rory was one of my favorite parts of the show, and they had, remanded him to second gear in the first season because he was coming from a place where he had never been in a position to like drive exotic cars. Like he was like, he could relate with the blue collar people because he was just like, he was a young enthusiast, and like he had fifth hand, cool hatchbacks and things like that. Like he was bright eyed and bushy tailed, and was getting to live these moments of like catching up with these cars and being introduced to these things on a level that we could identify with. And then you had what's his name, the actual pro driver with the shaved head.
Right. Yeah. I can't tell you his name.
I'm embarrassed that I can't remember, but anyway, and like he took it to a level past like fanboy where it's like I've driven these professionally and like, but I can still like, I don't come off snobby. Like I can still talk to you on I can talk to you on a technical level, and I still have a driver's enthusiasm and a passion for these cars. It's not just like, well, I get in and we look at the telemetry and this is all boring and it's what I do for a paycheck or whatever. Like he, he was just like, I love this car, but at the same time, like you could put him in a first generation Citroen, or something. And he's just like, it's got coil spring seats, and it's got 37 horsepower, and it's miserable and it's noisy, but like, there's just something visceral about it. Like he got excited about it. And then you had douchebag from Friends who just totally seemed like, I understand Joey. Like I understand, like I know he has a passion for cars. Like I know deep down, like he's like us, except he had like, friends' money, so like he could own fancy cars, like a bunch of Porsches and things like that. But he was a gaff, and and he just played so hard into that role. Like no matter how much he loved or knew about cars, you could never take him seriously because he just played the heel intentionally. Like look at me, I'm the dumb American. Like I'm just the ringer on this show.
Yeah.
And then they had the annoying fucking Ginger who was the power hungry producer of the show and has shoehorned himself into it and didn't know shit about cars or whatever. And
he owned a bunch of Ferraris, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had the money to own expensive cars, but he didn't know anything about driving them or
morning
whatever.
Talk show.
Like he was just there to grandstand, and like all this, everything that you read, so the behind the scenes. Chris Evans. Yes, thank you. Was just like he did nothing but fight with all of the production cast, the rest of the crew, and everything, and then finally they got rid of him and other Chris, the race car driver.
Yep. No, well, he stuck around.
He stuck around.
Yeah.
And they brought Rory up from second gear and put him in as part of the show.
Right. And that
then
was a decent season.
And that was good, except you still had fucking Joey up there, just up there hamming it up and doing all the stupid shit. And I'm just like I get that they are trying to kind of reimagine the dynamic and actually almost approach it from the dynamic of Top Gear America.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you had a legitimate driver, and then you had like you had the passionate young guy who remembers the greatness of the cars of old, but at the same time had an appreciation for budget cars and stuff like that in Rutledge.
Right.
And then you had, what's his name, the comedian from Jersey and everything, who was just kind of the heel. And he liked old Cadillacs and stuff like that, but he didn't really know how to drive. And he didn't have a super passion for anything besides like a certain aspect of American steel.
Right.
And, so they were trying to put that trifecta together of like a little something for everyone, but it didn't fucking work. So,
right.
Yeah. So then in the second season, then you had Chris.
It almost pulled it off.
And you had Rory, and then they almost pulled it off. And I'm actually,
and I haven't watched the season after that.
I had written it off. The current season is Chris and Rory and like another guy who I think is like a retired professional driver, like a legit guy. Like it seems like they have a really solid lineup now. And I keep on telling myself like I've got to chase down and catch up on some of these episodes because it looks like they are at least. Personally, for me, like they have assembled a trifecta
that works
of crew that works for at least my sensibilities, and the fact that they really tried in the first and second seasons to involve Sue Schmitz more, but she couldn't do more than kind of cameo appearances every couple episodes because she has a legitimate racing career.
She's still racing, right? Yeah.
And Chris was kind of the same way, but and so finally I think after the second season, she just kind of like walked away. She was like, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I'm too busy, and you guys don't really have your shit together.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting thing. Like, and we can roll out on this, but. The everything you said, the one thing that comes to mind on it, at no point have they brought in an actual car journalist to kind of put it together.
Right.
And that's exactly what the other three were.
They were all car and motorcycle journalists.
Yes, absolutely. So definitely, right?
They had a background in that. Yeah, and like all of these were either just drivers or personalities.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'd never thought about that, but that was an excellent point.
All right. So next time we play on, we will roll into more of this. All right, sandwiches or cars?
I mean, this loading screen will wait for me to get a sandwich. So
all right, let's rip in next.
And then I should probably